Liv Morgan has suffered a unfortunate injury on last night's episode of Raw. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke and DAD. Welcome to the Raw Review Podcast. I'll get more in frame here. Welcome to the Raw Review Podcast. We're here with the WrestleTalk Podcast every Tuesday and Friday. So please make sure you're subscribed. And it just drills into your weekly schedule. Tuesday, Friday.
Tuesday,
Here
Friday.
we are. Come listen to us.
Sometimes Sundays.
Sometimes Sundays.
Sometimes bonus episodes on a Wednesday.
Sometimes Mondays. If there's a pay-per-view on a Sunday night, Evolution will be.
We'll have a couple of Mondays coming up because, we've got Evolution is coming up. I think there's another one. Clash in Paris. The review
is that on a Sunday?
That's on a Sunday, so that review will be on Monday.
Why would they do? Why would it be on a Sunday? What, when WWE usually runs Saturdays? That's so weird.
Yeah, it's almost like it was a last-minute decision. And also, I will address the live comments right now. No, I'm not dressed as Mr. Iguana. But that's because Mr. Iguana was not in the Fatal 4-Way.
Did you say you were going to do it on this episode, though?
Well, what I said was, if Mr. Iguana is in the Fatal 4-Way, I will dress up as Mr. Iguana. And then I said that. I was like, we could do it that he's not. And then we never actually decided what we were going to do. And then yesterday, I meant to mention it, but we were in an all-day shoot playing Monopoly, and then it's coming soon. And then I forgot to mention again because you and I went to the theatre to go watch Dan Layton do his play.
But we will make you dress up as Mr. Iguana eventually.
I think it's only fair. We should try and capitalise on it now before, the meme gets old and no one cares about him in 2 weeks' time.
3 months' time. That's when the kids still want Mr. Iguana. Look at him. Yeah. It's Mr. Iguana. He's got an iguana. I can't actually say Mr. Iguana now without doing the next 3 lines of my Mr. Iguana routine. Well, anyway, I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luke and DAD. If you haven't already, please press the thumbs up button. Give us a subscribe. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on this episode of Raw. And send in your chat gables to WrestleTalk.com/support. Or read out everyone over $5 before the end of the show. Unfortunately, not great news to focus on at the start of this episode, because Liv Morgan was like, could you even call it a move into the match?
Yeah, it was very, very sudden. Like, it was like the first thing they did, more or less.
She runs towards Kairi, saying this is the second to last match of the show in the 3rd hour, or whatever, how the hours shake out on Netflix broadcasts. Kairi Sane kind of takes her down to the ground. Liv Morgan takes a standard front bump. I can take a front bump. That's how standard they are. And it looked like she landed on her elbow, like the hardest. So I thought, maybe her elbow's been injured. But no, she rolls out of the ring right away, goes to the side. You're like, okay, I know this. Heel working.
Because they filmed her rolling out of the ring, like grabbing a shot on herself. It's like, okay. And this is to set up them going into ad break, and then Raw rolls on and we'll come back. And then they were focusing a lot on Kairi Sane and not showing Liv Morgan, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, well, Kairi Sane had to figure out what to do with her hands while being concerned about Liv on the outside, but also trying to keep kayfabe and that she's happy she's beaten the person.
Yeah.
It was quite a fascinating thing. Mostly resulted in her doing weird dance arms.
Yeah, and being like, that's fine, I'm not going over there.
And then the show goes to break, it comes back, and the commentators, who were Michael Cole and Corey Graves, thank God.
Again, a lovely breath of fresh air.
I've not missed Pat McAfee.
No.
And I thought he cut a good promo in the Gunther feud.
He did cut that one good promo. 2 good promos, I'll give him that.
And they say she's been taken to the trainer's room. She's suffered a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, and according to PW Insider and several other places, Fightful were talking about this on their post show, not a work. It's not designed to be a write someone out of story for a little bit. PW Insider have said that it is a legit injury. WWE are treating this as a freak occurrence. So this was just an accident that happened in the ring, kind of like with the Zoe Stark one, just from just a handful of weeks ago. It was just a freak occurrence that happened in the ring. Kevin Owens' injury was just a freak occurrence that happened in the ring.
Yeah, they were more like Zoe wasn't she jumping off the top rope?
Yeah.
Those were from more moves. I'd be like, I could see how those would go wrong if you land the wrong way. Liv's was like the most standard. It's like injuring yourself in a collar elbow tie-up.
Yeah.
But that's the way these injuries go sometimes. It's not the big flips off the balcony that actually do you in.
Yeah.
It's the thing you've done 1,000 times before, and this time your body's like, Now your shoulder's out of place.
I said this when they did the Mox spiked bat angle on AEW, and it was like, hey, someone's going to get really hurt, and I was like, people don't get hurt doing this because you're prepared for it. People get hurt doing stuff they're not expecting to hurt them.
It'll be the fifth arm drag in the second match of a house show.
Exactly.
That's the one that's going to get you.
But this is apparently it is a dislocated shoulder. That's what PW Insider are reporting, and WWE are currently waiting on the severity of it. If it is its most severe case that it possibly can be, upwards of 16 weeks that Liv Morgan will be on the shelf.
My old flatmate, she claimed that her shoulder would just dislocate. Mm-hmm. You know, and to go, oh no, my shoulder's dislocated again, and she pops it back in.
Kind of like Bliss do that,
but now
she's done it in matches. I'm pretty sure where she's like made her arm go completely limp, and then she just pops it back in.
But now, and I never questioned that at the time, but now we're talking about a shoulder dislocation, and it seems quite severe. Now I'm doubting that she was actually dislocating her shoulder, and maybe she's just slightly double jointed, where she can kind of create a dimple where the shoulder joint is.
Like how Laurie can bend his arm backwards at the elbow.
You know, I can do that too. And look, it goes, it's hyperextension.
Yeah.
So it's not just Laurie. But everyone's always like, Laurie can bend his arm in a weird way.
Well, that's because Laurie brings it up in every conversation you possibly can do. Even if it's not connected to anything you're talking about. It's like, by the way, check out what I can do. He always wants to be the center of attention. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so this sucks. Like it's awful news, particularly on this show as well, because Liv Morgan entered into her third storyline on this episode of Monday Night Raw, where she is kind of the focal point of a lot of the women's division right now. She's in 3 separate storylines, and they were all building towards, like, I would assume they were going to do Io and Liv at Saturday night's main event. They were going to do her and Nikki, or her and Raquel versus the Bellas at Evolution. And, like, more than likely, because they're only a handful of weeks away, both of those matches won't be happening now.
What's the third story?
Roxanne.
Oh, yeah, all the Judgment Day
The Judgment
stuff.
Day drama.
Oh, God, you're right. I mean, you could layer loads of stories if you're going to include Judgment Day as one, because there's tension with Raquel, there's the romance with Dom, there's a multi-week feud with Kairi Sane here.
Yeah, it comes at... I mean, injuries are never come at a good time, but this one particularly sucks just because she has been, like, as I said in this episode, she started a quest for the Women's World Championship. Finally, Io Sky was being given a challenger to defend her title against, and now that's sort of been taken away. Though I will say that when Liv Morgan came out to open the show and she's like, it's going to be me, I'm the next challenger, I did go to cagematch.net to find out, when was the last time you won a singles match, Liv? It was March. Where she beat Jade Cargill. In fact, some fun facts for you. She's had 19 matches this year, and she's won 5 of them, and only one of those was a singles match.
Yeah, but she won the one that counts, and that was the women's tag title match.
Yeah, she's won them. She's won twice. She's won the tag titles twice this year.
Oh yeah, because they lost it back for a hot second, didn't they?
She was the women's world champion at the start of the year.
No, she wasn't. It's bad for multiple reasons. Also because we just missed Liv for a bit. Yeah. She went to film Bad Lieutenant Tokyo, I think it's called, in Japan. And she was gone from TV for 3 to 4 weeks. And that is what got Roxanne Perez into the group via Finn Balor in quite, actually a neat way for the Judgment Day storyline. But now it's the part of the story where Liv's back. Maybe we could expedite this Judgment Day breakup. Please, Paul Levesque, do not let Liv Morgan's potential injury delay the plans any further. We can't go past SummerSlam with the Judgment Day still intact.
Are you mad? They'll be in War Games.
No!
Because they're always in War Games. No, I'm being facetious. I don't think we're breaking this group. I've been down this road before about they're going to break this group up by SummerSlam. And like TNA, they'll never die. They'll just always just keep on going. So yeah, I think at least with the injury, if I can try, get some sort of silver lining out of this very bad news, the Nikki match likely isn't going to happen. The Io match likely isn't going to happen, unless of course it's a really minor injury and this is just a minor setback. She's just out of action for 2 weeks and she's back in time for the shows. Great news, thumbs up.
Like I said with my housemates.
Yeah, or Laurie.
Just pop it out.
Or Laurie, because the only person I know that can do that sort of thing with their arm. Or, but at least with those two, can't have those. At least you can do backstage segments in the den to further the Roxanne storyline.
Oh, at least we've got that.
Well, at least we can move something.
We've got the Clubhouse.
At least we can move something forward. You know, it's a bad situation to be in. But if all of the stuff for the drama is just in backstage segments anyway, we hopefully won't miss too much of that time.
Yeah, well, it is a shame. There's a weird parallel between the first Evolution and this, apparently. I can't remember the exact match, but it was Trish and Lita, and I think they're feuding with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. That was your big tag match for Evolution, pre-women's tag belts. But Alexa Bliss got injured, and Alicia Fox had to replace her.
Did she really?
In a tag match?
I was away when the first Evolution happened, so I didn't do the review of it. So I've got a very spotty memory of that show. The only thing, didn't Nikki Bella headline that show?
Yeah, against Ronda Rousey. Hey, I covered it. I reviewed it. I don't remember that.
The only match I really remember from that show is Becky and Charlotte, and that's because the match is great, but it's psychologically backwards because Charlotte is the face and Becky is the heel, but the crowd react to them in the opposite manner.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. There's speculation that Nikki Bella, at the start of this show, Liv Morgan opened the show with an in-ring promo where she set up the Io Sky thing. She also said, and Nikki Bella isn't here.
Yeah.
But Nikki Bella was promoting the show and saying, hey, I'm in Green Bay a lot on social media that day.
Yeah, so she was likely going to come out and cost Morgan the match to add another loss to her already losing track record that she's currently on.
But hopefully it's a less severe dislocation and it's more in the sort of, I don't know, couple of hours range. Yeah. Again, I'm only going on my former housemate's shoulder.
And Laurie.
Let's see, but he's not dislocating anything.
Have you seen the way he can move his arm?
No, he's just hyperextending his arm, which I can also do.
Yeah, not like Laurie.
All right, let's see what people say on the chats. Some guy writes, hi guys, my pitch for Liv, Roxanne becomes tag champs with Raquel. Raquel sides with Roxanne. This led to the eventual Finn-Dom split, and JD, Finn, Raquel and Roxanne brutalized Dom during Liv's return. Closing shot of Liv cradling Dom's head screaming.
I also want to agree with something that you've said on a previous episode. When I was like, I think they're going to be turning Dom babyface. And it really feels like they haven't actually decided if they are or they aren't. And on this episode, they aren't. Yes. So I'm now with you. I don't think they fully know what they're doing there, but I do think that it's probably time to start moving towards this Dom babyface turn. And actually, with Liv coming back from injury, that might be a good way to really give them some babyface fire and split the team up. But Roxanne tagging with Raquel actually makes a whole mess of sense. Like, that is actually a really, really good idea.
Roxanne is currently in the Queen of the Ring tournament. She's facing Jade Cargill.
Yeah, so she's not winning.
On SmackDown.
Yeah.
I don't know. Naomi could cost Jade. Or Jade goes through, Naomi cashes in on Jade.
Yeah, that's more what I was thinking it was going to be.
We've got Chris Hines who writes, if Jay is going to do the taped up ribs gimmick, for the love of God, sell the injured ribs. 2 splashes to Reed and not even a hint of them being affected. Apart from that, love the main event. Give me Reed, Sheamus and Rusev again as a 3-way.
I was disappointed it was Jay. They announced it last week that it was Jay, and I was like, of all the interesting ideas that people presented, it's one of the ones that I was not on board for.
Do you remember when we were all like, who's Jay's partner going to be in the European tour when they're in Scotland? It's probably going to be Joe Hedge. Oh, it's Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course it is. They've got a good track record of not disappointing us, but underwhelming us.
Yeah, but having said that, now that Jay has won, we'll come on to this later, it sets up a really nice Final Four. So actually, I'm not completely against Jay being in there because the Final Four situation is nice. But yeah, just Jay being the mystery man announcement was underwhelming.
But they had to make it mystery or TBC because he hadn't yet lost the title to Gunther when they announced the match graphic last Monday.
There was time to have not announced this Fatal 4-Way for this show.
Yeah, you could announce it on Friday.
Yeah, you could have spread them out.
Iguana only flans. Is a flan an iguana thing?
No, flans, it's I think that's actually a Denise Salcedo thing because she said she was going to start a website called Only Flans. where she's just going to sell pictures of flans.
Flans being the dessert.
Dessert, yeah.
Right.
If
Mr. Iguana, he's got an iguana, comes up to the main roster, who could you see him competing against for the custody of his iguana? Okay, there's 2 routes you can go here. You go in the comedy direction, so you're El Grande Americano. It's got the luchador Mexican rivalry stuff. That makes sense. Or you go the complete opposite, i.e. the Kozlov to Mr. Iguana's Santino. So you need a straight man. And I think we're all very impressed with his WWE run so far. Rusev.
That's exactly who I was going to suggest as well. Put Rusev.
Alistair.
Yeah, welcome back, kid. You know, we really missed having you here. We've got a great pitch for you. It's you and Iguana.
And you're going to lose. There's going to be a match, Alistair Black, where you will trip and the iguana will fall on top of you and you'll be pinned by the puppet.
I don't mind it. I think he would, though. We've also got this from TR Michael, who says, in regards to the Liv injury, dislocated shoulders can be tricky. If nothing tore, she could be back very quickly, a couple of weeks maybe. But when I dislocated mine, I tore my labrum and I was out for a few months. That's like the MRI is negative. Yeah, if you are just joining us, then it's PW Insider are reporting, at worst case scenario, 16 weeks, which is just over 3 months.
Yeah, so the dislocated shoulder, it's more like the damage the dislocated shoulder could have done to the tendons and the ligaments, as opposed to the, I will call it. Right, please keep getting in your chats to WrestleTalk.com/support. We'll read out every single one over $5. And also, hey, go over to Patreon.com/WrestleTalk, because over there you can get loads of exclusive videos, like episode 4 of the Rise and Fall of the Nexus. Not the Shield. That was last year.
Or WCW.
Or WCW. Yeah, that's our review of Night of Champions. That's up right now. And this weekend, we have the return of Tables, Lists, and Chairs.
Yeah.
With us two and Sullivan.
TLC makes its triumphant return. We kind of had a bit of a busy schedule, so I haven't been able to put a TLC episode out, but we've wanted to be putting a TLC episode for a little while now, so it's great to get back into the chairs and record a new one of those. We're doing, on WrestleTalk, it'll be the top 10 heel turns, and over on Patreon, the top 10 babyface turns, which remarkably was actually harder to... Well, it actually wasn't, not remarkably. It was just harder to do. Heel turns is quite fairly straightforward. Like, it's a bit more of like, where do you rank them? Babyface ones are like, I actually don't know how to fill out my top 10.
Yeah, heel turns, they're instant. They're moments. Whereas face turns, typically more slow burns.
Yeah.
But yeah, the best heel turns has one of my favorite bits we've done all year, which was a new name for CM Punk.
Yeah. It
by accident.
Within 2 entries of that list video, it goes off the rails as an episode. It really is a return to form for TLC. Really, really goes off the rails for a little bit.
So please subscribe to WrestleTalk so you get those first when they're live. And of course, go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk where you can get bonus episodes of those shows. Right, this episode of Raw. It began with Liv Morgan doing her opening shtick, which we've already talked about. Io Sky interrupts her, comes down.
How dare you disrespect Nikki Bella?
Yeah, that's the real motivating emotion here, isn't it? The disrespect on Nikki Bella's name.
She's a Hall of Famer.
And she said, you can't just steal a title shot against me like you did Dirty Dom from Rhea. You have to earn it. Whereas Liv was trying to be like, I get my automatic rematch clause, no?
Yeah, she was sort of like... And then Corey Graves afterwards, like, she makes a compelling case. Like, does she? Because, again, I've checked. Do wins and losses matter in WWE? Because like, they do when they want them to, but then the rest of the time it's like, no, wins and losses don't matter. And I find that deeply frustrating. We'll get onto the Goldberg thing in a bit.
Raquel's backstage, and this is when Liv's like, win the 4-way. And the 4-way was Raquel versus Stephanie versus Ivy Nile versus a returning Asuka.
Just to clarify, Stephanie Vaquer, not McMahon.
Yes.
She wasn't entered into this year's Queen of the Ring first round matches.
Instant win. Wins the
Queen
final.
down.
And then you've got Shane was the best men's wrestler a couple of years ago. Well, more than that. And Stephanie's the best women's wrestler.
In the Queen down, where the kings bow down.
So Asuka's back. You happy?
Yeah, absolutely. I've missed seeing Asuka, and it was great to see her back. Obviously, they've now not got a damage control faction, which they have. This is the thing with Triple H, really, is he puts together factions, then splits them up, doesn't do an angle for it. You know, we just split up Alpha Academy, really, but we didn't really do any conclusion for it. They're just a group now over here, and this is a group over there. And what was the other one? I just thought of another example of one that he just... Oh, Imperium.
Yeah.
A faction on TV one week, and then they weren't.
Even when there's a clear reason to do so. Oh, Carlito, your contract's coming due in about 2 weeks. Should we do an angle where you get ridden off, or at least build to one? Nope. You're just going to disappear. He just wants us to edge all the time.
Yeah, and here we got damage control. Yeah, they just stopped being together. And so they're not together anymore. So Asuka can now sort of carve a path of her own. She won the match, right? She's qualified.
Yeah, she won the match. But and I always thought she would win the match. But I also thought, I know Ivy Niles taking the pin.
Same here.
And I think we've got to stop this now. This whole, who's going to take the pin out of these four? Is it Star, or Maxine Dupree? Because actually, the last couple of weeks, it hasn't been the most undercard person who's taken the loss.
No, but at least we know what the finish is going to be because they showed us at the start of both of the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring matches. Here's the finish of last week. Just so you know, we're going to do the exact same finish in this match as well. It's a bit of a wrestling trope, which I absolutely adore. My favorite example of it is Royal Rumble 2000, where apropos of nothing, they show a replay of when Shawn Michaels only had one foot touch the floor and to win the Royal Rumble, and they were like, "Hey, it's just a Royal Rumble bit of history. Nothing telegraphing what the finish of this upcoming Royal Rumble is going to be." But in both of the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring matches, they did tell you, and here's the finish of what it's going to be, and it is going to be exactly the same finish.
You'd kind of get that in Game of Thrones recaps back in the day. Because there were so many stories to follow, the opening recap will suddenly show a load of Dawn stuff, specifically how maybe the Prince of Dawn is going to get murdered soon. I guess he's dying. He's the death of the episode. Not that happens if you've not watched them. Pedro Pascal plays him.
I was going to ask, because I have now seen Game of Thrones, and I did not know who that character was.
Prince of Dawn?
Yeah.
He's the sexiest one.
Is it just a short run thing? Because there was like a character that had like a gold mask bit, and then I don't remember them actually getting a conclusion, or if they did, I just don't remember what it was.
Was that the lady?
Yeah.
Lady Catelyn Stark came back from the dead again. Doesn't happen.
Who's she again?
I can't remember. She was Ned Stark's wife.
Ned
all
was...
the other stuff. Sean B.
Sean B. Thank you. Lovely. Thank you.
Do you want me to give you actor names instead?
That might help in some cases.
I can't do it. I can give you the 3 names they have in the show.
Oh, that might also help.
But not actually the actress's name. But she is in Gangs of London or some dross like that.
Catelyn Stark, you say?
Yeah.
Sean Bean's wife.
Ginger.
Yeah. Oh, with you. Not Sophie Turner. The
not
other.
That one.
No, the mum. Right, I'm with you.
Right. So this match it ended when Rhea Ripley got her revenge on Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel cost her the match last week, and she hit a riptide on the outside, threw her in. Asuka hit the running bum, which is called the
Empress Impact.
That wasn't called that before, was it? It was just a running hip attack.
No, it wasn't her finish either.
It
was the Asuka lock was her finish, but now she's got a new finish, and it's the running bum.
Yeah, I don't love the running bum.
I guess it's because Naomi's not using it anymore, so Asuka's like, that's fair game now. Running bum it is.
Like, especially when Tony Storm has the ultimate running bum, and all moving bums after that pale in comparison.
Yeah, Tony Storm, the concussion in the corner.
The concussion bum. Yeah, I don't love that as a finishing move for Asuka. Totally fine as a weak grapple. The Empress Impact.
Yeah.
God, even the name sucks. But that was the finish. I particularly enjoyed Stephanie Vaquer in this match. I thought she was the standout.
She was so great. When she gets the devil's kiss on Raquel Rodriguez, and Raquel like stands up and powers out of it, but like Stephanie holds on with her sort of vice-like grip, and they go to the outside, and then Stephanie just muscles her back up, just using only her legs and thighs to do it on the apron. Great. Really, really good. Also nice that the commentators didn't make a noise.
Yeah.
Because they both said, I can't do the noise justice. Just not do the noise. And they opted not to. And it had so much more impact because it didn't have a commentator making a silly noise.
A lot of people love the noise about the Devil's Kiss. For me, the best thing about the move is just before it starts, Stephanie Vaquer looks out to the audience and has the cheekiest little grin.
Yeah, she's like, it's another viral moment for me this week. One. I mean, my favorite thing about it, I've said it on shows before, I just appreciate that move is now over, because when Alex Shelley used to do that move in TNA in 2005, the crowd would chant, that was gay.
It's 2005. Kathy Kelly interviewed Asuka in the ring afterwards. She said the fire is still alive. She'll win Queen of the Ring because nobody is ready for Asuka.
Yeah, she's facing Alexa Bliss on SmackDown, and Michael Cole said they're former tag team champions. I'm like, are they?
What? I think there's large parts of 2017 to 2020 that I've just forgotten.
Out. Yeah, forgotten. I think I've completely forgotten.
Yeah, someone's going to say, actually, that was 2023.
No, it actually was.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was.
What, pre-damage control Asuka?
I think it's pre-damage control Asuka. Because there's a bit when, I think for the vacant belts and they just win out of nowhere, or they win the belts off of damage control after damage control win them. But I'm pretty sure it is like, it's Paul Levesque era WWE that they were the tag champions.
Do you want to check that while I just run through a few more bits? Asuka's music was the same Asuka music, the CFO money music, so that's good. They didn't give her Def Rebel stuff. Then we're backstage with the Clubhouse. Liv's annoyed with Raquel because Raquel's injured. She can't talk strategy. Dom complains that AJ Styles has been breathing down his neck for the IC title.
No, I knew you'd pop for that.
He hasn't been. He set that up about a month ago and did nothing about it. But Dom said, hey, Finn, I think it's best you stay here, watch the fort. JD McDonagh can face AJ Styles. And then Finn was like, nah, and walked off with Roxanne.
Right, nearly there. Yeah, I was right. So they get vacated when Sasha Banks and Naomi walk out on the company, and they deactivate the belts for a little bit. Then Triple H era brought them back, and it was set up for Damage Control to win the tournament. And then it was instead won by, I wonder if you can remember what team won the belts.
Oh, because I remember being annoyed because Damage Control should have absolutely won the belts.
Yeah.
To establish them as this new act.
I'll give you a hint. One of them is one half of the women's tag team champions currently.
Well, I was going to say Raquel Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. Is it Raquel and Liv?
No.
Otherwise, you would have just said the current tag team champions. Who else did Raquel tag with?
Yeah, who did she tag with?
Not Ember Moon.
No, she was gone from the company by that point.
Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville.
No.
Oh, you got to tell me.
Aaliyah.
I would never have.
I knew you would. They held it for 2 weeks, then it went to Damage Control, who then lost it to Alexa Bliss and Asuka, who held it for 5 days, and then it went back to Damage Control.
What a run. Then we got the Gunther promo. So Gunther comes out. He looks right with the championship belt. He got some pyro to celebrate his title win. He says that Jay was better than him on the one night of WrestleMania, but the rest of the time, Gunther reigns supreme. He's heard the rumors about what's next for him, and that's not what's next. I'm talking to you, Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And then Goldberg's music hit.
Yeah, that sort of undermined the pop of Goldberg, I suppose, because but the second that he said, I've heard the rumors about who I might be facing next, it got the crowd to chant Goldberg. So when Goldberg came out, it didn't feel like much of a surprise.
Yeah.
Because he set you up to chant for Goldberg, then said, but it's not that, it's Seth Rollins. And then Goldberg came out, and the crowd was like, well, yeah, so we thought it was coming out.
That works if you've got 4 weeks of build, and the next 4 weeks is going to be about Goldberg not showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So then you get this idea that the crowd are chanting Goldberg next week and the week after, and then after all this anticipation's building, then Goldberg actually comes out after Gunther's been saying it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work when it happens within the space of 30 seconds.
You're absolutely right. So this didn't completely work for me, but Goldberg came out, kind of very simple promo. It was like, you talked mess about my family months ago. And it's only now that I've taken issue with it because I've got a show coming up in Atlanta and I'm coming for that title.
Did he say that?
What do you mean?
I don't think he said that title, nor do I think he said anything about his retirement.
He didn't say, I didn't say, I was about to say, he didn't actually mention a retirement thing. This was not a retirement match announcement, but he did say, I know what it's like to hold that title. And he did. He
said, we'll end this.
But did he get announced as a world title match later in the show?
Oh, I don't think so.
No? Did it not?
I might have missed it.
All right, here we go. I'm going to WWE.com. Is this an R-Truth John Cena situation again? Because I remember we thought that was a title match, then it turned out it wasn't.
Yeah.
Here we go. Shows.
I mean, I expect it to be for the title, but they just haven't announced that yet, to my knowledge. I think that's a good thing you announce next week or the week after, where it's also for your championship.
Yes, Goldberg to challenge Gunther. Just says to challenge Gunther currently. Let's see if I can find an actual
Well, the great thing about it not being for the title is this is a series. So Goldberg has this match. He wins.
Yeah.
He beats Gunther in a non-title match. And then you can do the title match where Goldberg does win the belt.
WWE Hall of Famer Goldberg surprised the WWE Universe and the new World Heavyweight Champion Gunther to inform the ring general that they will have a title match on July 12th. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Is that WWE.com?
Yeah, it certainly is.
I could tell by the verbiage. Where Seth freaking Rollins walked out to confront the
leader of the Yes movement. It is a title match. I wonder if they will announce it as like it's career versus title for when it actually comes to Saturday night's main event. Add a few more stakes and drama to this, because I think a lot of people aren't massively into this Goldberg idea. I will reveal this was the potential thumbnail idea for today. Ollie shut that one down though. Thought we should go with.
Well, the answer is quite simple. Gunther's next. Ollie cares. I think Goldberg will be a lot of fun, but I think it's good for Gunther to make Goldberg put his career on the line. Yeah, because then it gives Gunther the heat as opposed to Goldberg being like the hero here.
Yeah, I retired Goldberg. It's I think where people are slightly down on this Goldberg return, and actually like this crowd didn't seem all that hyped up for a Goldberg title match. And I wonder if it's just because, and I thought I'll go and double check my numbers on this one, Had. So since he's returned in 2016, he's had 12 matches and only 5 of those have not involved the world title. And one of those is a Royal Rumble. So he's only had 4 matches since his return in 2016 that were not around the world title. One of those was when he squashed Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam.
The best actual use of him.
Yeah, and and one of the other ones is the Undertaker match that no one really wants to remember. So really, all Goldberg
can't remember it.
It's too hot. So all Goldberg has done since coming back in 2016 is either win the world title or lose the world title.
Yes, and a bit of advice to all new wrestlers. That's how you become a star. Only fight for the title or the main event stuff. Roman knows.
Yeah.
After that, we got JD McDonagh versus AJ Styles. This was a decent match. Dom's on the outside, but weirdly, AJ just got lost for 20 seconds on the top rope.
Yeah.
Which is really weird for him.
Yeah. I thought the crowd were pretty quiet for this match. Like the only person they were chanting for was Dirty Dom.
AJ hit a Styles clash on JD McDonagh to win, despite some Dom interference. And then Finn saved Dom from a Styles beatdown. And then the Judgment Day went to do the sort of shield attack. But Styles didn't escape through the open part of the ring. He just nipped past Finn.
Yeah, and ran away with the title.
But maybe that plays into something.
Yeah.
That Finn is actually letting Styles get away with this. Yeah, he ran away with the title, gave it back to Nick Aldis backstage, and Nick made AJ versus Dom for Night of Champions, because if you can capture the belt physically, you can then cash that in for a title shot at a pay-per-view.
Well, he has beaten one of his stablemates as well in a match just then. So, yeah, it completely makes sense. It adds up. And at last, we are getting AJ going for the Intercontinental Championship, which he first started against Bron Breakker when he was the IC champion.
Tozawa, Maxine, Dupree, and Natalia wish Sheamus luck for his main event.
Have you seen that Maxine and Natalia now have a tag team name?
The Dungeon Dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yep. Right, can't wait for it. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are seen arguing backstage again with the New Day with them this time, but the New Day weren't really getting involved when Bayley was walking to the ring backstage.
Yeah. Much like the Dungeon Dolls, I've got little thoughts. It's not going to happen because the Australia show's not for a few months yet.
Bayley comes out and she cuts. I thought this was a really good segment overall.
Oh, good! I am glad because I saw some people online not enjoy this. Like when I was checking Reddit, people were a bit sort of down on this one because I think they were talking over each other. It was a little bit like messy. Like Sean on his review was just like the character motivations don't really like work or make a lot of sense. But I quite enjoyed this segment.
I mean, maybe it's a personal preference thing. I like it when it's a bit messy, providing it's controlled messy.
Yeah,
it feels more realistic. Like Becky and Bayley in there going back and forth because Becky came out afterwards. They're firing shots back and forth at each other, but it doesn't feel like my turn, your turn, wrestling promo style. It was more just two people having an argument.
The only thing I didn't love about it is Bayley's first thing where she's like, I don't do this for WrestleManias. I don't do this for titles. I do it for each and every one of you. And it's like, this is just babyface. Particularly Paul Levesque era WWE. That is the babyface template. It's like, I'm out here for you guys.
Yeah, it's lame. But Becky got loads of heel heat. I think it was something to do with sports teams.
Yeah, I think she was wearing another sports team's top, and that made this Packers crowd, which I know because I've seen that 70s show, upset.
Bayley slapped Becky to end the segment. And then backstage, Nick Aldis, again, booking loads of things. I feel like Adam Pearce isn't around a lot at the moment.
He's been off for 2 weeks.
Been on holiday. Nick said, because Becky took a title shot from you at WrestleMania, you will get a title shot against her next week. So that's good. That sort of made me sit up in my seat, that did.
Yeah, really. I really liked this segment. I thought that Becky came across really, really well. Although, again, if I was to be hypercritical about this, she did say that she's turned heel because the fans never cheered for her. So I get that, that is her being a delusional heel, but it just makes her look like a moron. So it's not my favorite version of Becky when she's thick, like, when she's just a bit dim. She's not the sharpest knife in the drawer because I think she is smarter than that. But I like Bayley being like, you keep telling on the fans because of your insecurities, you didn't think they were going to cheer for you. And then Becky pointed out, I was like, yeah, and then I came back and they did cheer for me, even though I beat you up, I attacked you and they didn't care about you either. These fans are wrong. That's the better version of this.
There was a really good line when Bayley asked about, have you forgotten what it's like to work really hard for things? And Becky just went, yeah. Have you forgotten what it's like to wear gold?
Yeah.
And Bayley was like, well, yeah, actually, as well.
Yeah.
When Bayley got that title shot booked for next week, she walks on backstage, and there is Lyra Valkyria. Oh, I wish she was up high.
Like Sting.
Yeah, just in the rafters. Oh,
always with a little bird on her arm.
She can flap down. And
that's what she needs.
She was a bit annoyed with Bayley that Bayley's going for her IC title.
Yeah.
A nice bit of tension rather than what we usually get, which is just good luck in your match later.
Thank you for paving the way.
Thank you for paving the way,
yeah.
Nikki Bella.
Not as much as Nikki did, but you did your fair share, I guess.
Before next week, Bayley, let's both pay tribute to Nikki Bella for making women's wrestling possible.
Being facetious, of course, but I did say this on last week's show. She did do a lot for women's wrestling in terms of reaching out to the mainstream audience.
By having a reality show.
By having a reality, she did more for women's wrestling from a mainstream perspective than Becky, Bayley, or Sasha Banks, or Charlotte Flair did in ring.
I think we should launch a petition to get the Queen of the Ring tournament renamed to the Nikki Bella Classic. In honor of all her work.
Yeah, or, they don't have a name for the WrestleMania Battle Royal. You remember, they used to just call it the Women's Battle Royal because, unfortunately, can't talk about the other person they did name it after. So, yeah, we could just call it the Nikki Bella Appreciation Battle Royal.
Yeah.
The Nikki Bella Paving the Way Battle Royal for all of these women that are in the ring. I think that can lead to a nice triple threat at Evolution, which I think is, I'm very much in for. I think that would be good.
Kairi Sane and Liv Morgan then had their match, which we've already covered. That's where the injury took place. We got a recap of the Punk versus Cena feud. Cena will take on R-Truth this Friday on SmackDown.
As R-Truth as well. Like, he didn't say Ron Killings.
What, do they just care about SmackDown again?
Because the last couple of weeks have been really good.
Yeah.
And we've got another couple of good weeks lined up with, like, King of the Ring stuff.
I do feel like Paul Levesque has been on pause slightly until Money in the Bank, because I thought Raw last week was really good. I thought this was a really good episode of Raw. It's like they finally clicked all their plans, because now we're on the road to SummerSlam.
Yeah, it could be,
Kathy Kelly interviews Sammy about the Randy Orton match on Friday. That is a semi-final for the King of the Ring tournament. Another big thing for this episode on Friday. And Karrion Kross walks in and says, Randy is one of the most diabolical players in the game. And you're insane, Sammy, for doing the exact same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And Sammy said, well, I think you're a coward because you don't go out there and actually back it up. As soon as I'm done with King of the Ring, I'm going to face you in a match, Karrion, which is actually something we've already wrapped up when he did this about 3 months ago.
Yeah, and then Karrion started doing stuff with AJ Styles, cost him his match at WrestleMania, and then it was never picked up on again afterwards. Whatever happened to that? I guess AJ... Oh, yeah, the Intercontinental Championship. That's what I was doing. I got distracted by this side quest for a little bit. I really liked Karrion's line, though, when he was talking about how you're going to lose to Orton, he's going to win King of the Ring and win his 15th world title while you're just stuck at 0. Yeah, Sami Zayn's going to win the world title within, the next calendar year, probably at next year's WrestleMania. And this is just more sort of sowing those seeds. But also, I think we now can all pretty much, but I think we have done for the last few weeks, Triple H is not going to push Karrion Kross.
No.
Yeah. Despite what the internet wanted, he's not getting a push.
Now he makes that decision? He was being rammed down our throats when we didn't want it at NXT.
Well, and when he came back to the main roster,
Yeah.
like it was just, put straight into that main event scene, and everyone was like, I don't think he's good for this. Did you know as well on this show, they plugged 4 different podcasts.
Oh, there was the Stephanie one, there was the Cody one. What were the other 2?
So they've got, they had like 4 different plugs for 4 different WWE branded podcasts. So there's Stephanie's What's Your Story? And then there's Cody's What Do You Want to Talk About? Where he makes up things about the Bullet Club that aren't true. And there's one with Michelle McCool as the co-host. I think that might be with The Undertaker, but certainly it's Michelle McCool has a podcast.
Well, I think, hasn't she just become The Undertaker's co-host for The Undertaker podcast?
There you go. That's the one they were talking about then. And then they were plugging the Raw recap as well with Sam Roberts and another. Can't remember what her name is, unfortunately. So that you don't come and watch this show instead.
Well, come here instead. Do you think one day they'll promote us?
No.
Go to the WrestleTalk podcast.
No, they'll just continue to block our videos on YouTube because that is what they do.
We're cool with it. We're cool with it.
Yeah, I wasn't up until really late on Friday having to take other bits out of the SummerSlam 2010 video because WWE flagged it with 4 different unlisted videos that they just have in their back end.
Jey Uso was the mystery addition to the final round 1 fatal 4-way qualifier for the men's King of the Ring tournament. Men's King of the Ring, kind of redundant there.
Yeah. It was
King of the Ring.
Yeah, it was the 4th of 4 fatal 4-ways in the first round of the King of the Ring tournament.
And he was taking on Rusev, Bronson Reed, and Sheamus. As we've already covered in one of those chats earlier, Jay came out with a taped-up midsection, neither selling the heartbreak of losing his title last week or his busted ribs.
Yeah, he seems completely fine. Both physically
nothing happened.
Both physically and mentally. He's just fine.
If Rikishi could just give a bit of his anger to Jay's on-screen character, we'll be singing here.
Yeah. But unfortunately, he's got to do the entrance and pose with kids and stuff. They also showed a recap of LA Knight interfering last week and Bronson Reed interfering in his match on SmackDown. So, I wonder what the finish to this match is going to be. Before
we got there, though, the Hoss stuff was great.
Great stuff.
Particularly Sheamus.
Sheamus and Rusev, man, when they were in the ring together, it was magic.
Bronson tried to break them up, and they just kept on flinging blows. The Bronson and Sheamus had a bit outside as well when Sheamus did the stand-up spot behind Reed. But Jey Uso occasionally got involved, and what happened here? He was about to climb up to the top rope, and that's when Bron Breakker pushed him off the top rope. Sami Zayn appears from out of nowhere to attack him. Penta also appears to take out Bron because Bron had taken out Sami because he's too good. Then in all that melee, LA Knight costs Bronson Reed hitting the tsunami. Jey hits 2 splashes with the injured midsection to win.
Yeah. So he advances and he'll now be facing Cody Rhodes on Raw next week. That's a really big semi-final. That's what I mean. Jey being the mystery fourth man, underwhelming. But actually, it's a good result because we get Cody versus Jey next week in the semi-finals.
I think that both semi-finals, they're all Cody's mates.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Sami, Randy, Jey, and Cody.
Yeah.
And now it's got to come down to one of them.
It's almost like Triple H has won a previous King of the Ring tournament, so he actually cares about this thing.
Who do you think? I think Cody's winning.
I had Sami for the second that Sami won last week, I was like, he's winning King of the Ring. But now that he's going up against Randy Orton and it's also Cody Rhodes, I'm like, I don't know. But also, Cody doesn't need to win. He pinned the champion at the last pay-per-view. He's already got, an easy shot at the championship for SummerSlam. He doesn't need to win King of the Ring to get that.
No one remembers that. Ron Killings came back.
Guess
Ron Killings pinned John Cena.
I guess so.
So have we been here before where we're talking about a sort of big event in the WWE calendar where we think, well, it's going to be Cody or it's going to be Randy or it's going to be Sami? Are we all sleeping on Jey? Are we sleeping on
you think Jey's winning King of the Ring?
And then he can cash in his shot against Gunther at SummerSlam? Round out the trilogy.
Back to the tag division with him. He's going to be tagging with Jimmy up against the New Day. I think that's the SummerSlam match.
You can see it.
I can see it, but I think the more likely scenario is it's Jimmy and Jey versus the New Day for the tag titles at SummerSlam on one of the nights of SummerSlam.
I really like the King of the Ring semi-finals dynamic. All Cody's friends, all baby faces. Yeah. I'm really genuinely intrigued to see where they go with that. Done a great job.
At the very least, I think Sami's in the final because it's in Saudi Arabia. So I think he's making it to the finals.
After that, we got Seth Rollins come down to try and beat up Jey for winning because he was very angry.
It's the most normal Seth Rollins has ever looked. He's just wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Just a normal suit. It's like he borrowed it from Nick Aldis.
But it accentuated the actual emotions he was trying to portray.
Yeah.
When he's dressed in these huge glasses and ridiculous shoes, if he's storming down to the ring, he still looks like a clown.
Yeah.
But here, dressed in a suit, this is the angriest I've seen Seth look because he keeps on trying to do these next level plans and they fall apart. But Cody runs down to save Jey. Seth walks off, and then you get a nice little moment of Cody and Jey in the ring, semi-finalists, and they shake hands.
Also former tag team champions.
What, with Aaliyah?
Yeah, it was Cody and Aaliyah. They won the tag team titles after they were vacated.
Wouldn't put it past them.
They're supposed to go to the Judgment Day.
Right, well, that is our Raw portion of the show. I gave it 77%. Thought it was a decent show.
Yeah, I gather it was the action was very good because the four-way at the start, interference finish aside, very, very good. Men's four-way interference aside, very, very good. I actually enjoyed AJ and JD, even though the crowd went all that into it. And it's Goldberg.
Yeah,
it's Goldberg. It's Goldberg. It's Goldberg.
Can't deny that is Goldberg.
That is Goldberg.
That's him.
It sure is. I stand by what I said in the WrestleTalk news. I think he can be considered one of the greatest of all time. For everything that he has done for professional wrestling, there are, if you're looking at top draws in terms of professional wrestling, he is in that conversation of legit, you put him on a marquee, he sells tickets. Not only just back in the day, but even when he returned in 2016, he is a genuine needle mover and a ticket mover. One of the greatest of all time.
And before the WCW run, those great legendary runs in Mexico, in Japan, in the 70s and 80s.
Against the original Atlantis.
Yeah. The in-ring work is incredible.
He was doing more headlock takeovers. You can only see them now in sort of GIF format shared on Twitter every now and again. But and also like I'm not super excited for the match with Gunther. I think it'll be good. I'm just not emotionally invested in it.
I'm excited because this is the closest we've got to the crazy Vince days.
Oh, that's what it is it?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, could they put the belt on Goldberg? Because the track record of Goldberg going for titles,
I mean, actually,
is pretty strong.
I'll tell you what's quite nice as well, because if it is Goldberg and then it's Goldberg, Sami Zayn at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins runs in, cashes and makes it a three-way, can pin Sami Zayn. Goldberg doesn't even get pinned in his retirement match.
That's what we want. You could have Goldberg beat Gunther at Saturday night's main event, rematch at SummerSlam, and Goldberg, for some reason, both puts his belt and career on the line.
Why not?
Gunther wins, retires. Goldberg wins, retires with the belt. We spoke about Patreon earlier. You can also get shout-outs on this very show. We couldn't make this stuff without you guys. Thank you very much. The Torrential Tribute, Spencer Vaughan Hagen.
The Pharaoh, Stephen Masafero.
The Incredible Tarzo.
The People's Broker, Ash Ajaz.
Keep rolling, the Rick Peck.
Commentator of the Century, Vince Phillips.
He clashed at the castle, William Wallace.
Willie Biggie Singleton.
The Iron Zeke.
The Grainy Grappler, Heiko Speaker.
He has huge tracts of land, Andrew Ackers.
And of course to our wonderful moderating team who really do keep all of you lot in line. Andy.
Ian.
James.
John KV.
And Owen. And of course, because she'll never put her name on the list, Mod Mother Jenna. Please give your applause emojis within the live chat.
Yeah, get some cheap pops going. Okay, last call for the chat Gables here. Kuzu writes, I've never had a shoulder dislocation, but I've seen them and they're complicated. Finn lost his main event push because of it, and Randy's had chronic shoulder issues because of it. I hope Liv's fine. Missing a stadium show in your hometown would suck. Yeah, again, that's torn labrums, which are the ligaments in your shoulder, which can be torn because of a dislocation.
And again, you want to talk about like those two injuries. Again, freak occurrences. It was like the buckle bomb into the barricade and Randy Orton doing his taunts. And taking out the rubbish that one time.
Oh, and Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
Punching the air.
Yeah.
And the air won.
And that's why he's never won a world title.
Roach Senpai. First of all, commiserations with Liv. Reg the Goldberg segment. Reg the Goldberg segment. Reg. Oh, regarding.
Regarding. Reg. I like Reg the Goldberg, though.
Yeah, Reg the Goldberg segment.
Reg. You know Reg? Reg the Goldberg.
Are we going to start naming all the Goldberg segments? Next week's is Steve the Goldberg segment. I cannot be the only one who saw him nearly out of breath just making his way to the ring. I still cannot understand why he's back. Not the best opponent for Gunther's first title defense.
I would disagree. I think it is a good first title defense because it's an easy win. You retire a legend, you beat a legend, a former world heavyweight champion himself. That is a much better match than Pat McAfee. But yeah, Goldberg looked like he was struggling to climb up to the second rope to go and cheer like Jey Uso did.
Yeah. Well, I was just watching his forehead and there was no blood, so I thought he did really well.
Yeah.
Dutch girls are okay. Right, 2 funny moments happened here. Not sure if you guys noticed. First, the New Day's promo got cut off halfway. I don't think we get that part of the broadcast.
No, since you upgraded my Netflix account, I now don't get to see the advert, like the interviews and mid-adverts. I don't get to see them anymore.
And second, Goldberg just point-blank spit while doing promo to Gunther, and Gunther had to keep blinking his eyes.
I did not see that.
Rafael Garcia writes, I think I've figured it out. Judgment Day is just mainstream House of Torture. They should break up, but they add new members, the copious amounts of interference, and a leader who was technically Bullet Club. All House of Torture need is a clubhouse.
Yeah, if you're ranking like worst factions in wrestling at the moment, I think those two are kind of at the top at the moment.
Mike CB. I like this episode of Raw, but felt the ending with all the run-ins is so messy. The Seth Cody felt tacked on to the end of the show. Also, can someone tell Jay to stop doing the spear? He's no good at it.
It's over. Is it the best spear in the world? Absolutely not. It'll look even worse now that Goldberg is back because Goldberg's spear is incredible. And, it's on the same roster as Braun Breaker, whose spear is 20 times better than anyone's spear. But that spear is over. If your move is over, You should keep on doing it.
Also, it does annoy Goldberg, which is funny. The more people who use the spear, the more he gets annoyed.
He gets annoyed about it.
Live Paul MSF writes, I love watching you two on the podcasts, and apologies if others have already asked, but some of my favourite WrestleTalk content are the game show style ones. Tables, lists and chairs, survival series, etc., of which Tempest was a huge factor. What are your plans for these shows and PFK? Well, Tables, lists and chairs is back this weekend with me, Luke and Sullivan. We're going to be doing the 10 best heel turns on the YouTube channel and the 10 best face turns on the Patreon side.
If you're listening on the audio feed, we'll be putting the audio of TLC up this coming Saturday.
We've got on PFK, we sort of spoke about this a couple of months ago. You've seen it with WrestleTalk podcast already, but just the idea of having 3 different YouTube channels for our wrestling content, which is WrestleTalk, WrestleTalk podcast, and Parts Unknown, just doesn't seem to be working over the last year with the YouTube algorithm. That's why we've migrated all of the podcasts onto this main WrestleTalk channel, and PFK has just pretty much become Monday Night War now.
Yeah.
We've got, Luke alluded to it earlier, a Monopoly but wrestling coming up soon. That will be on WrestleTalk, for instance.
Yes.
Whereas before it would have been on PFK.
We're figuring out the YouTube algorithm as they consistently change it and sort of, try and see what works.
But with Survival Series, that is going on a hiatus for an indefinite period. We used up most of the good topics as well.
It was a series that unfortunately was sort of starting to run its course anyway. Like a lot of YouTube formats kind of have a shelf life. You kind of have like a really good run at the start and then it starts to peter off a little bit. Actually, TLC, as much as we love doing it, has also seen a bit of a dip off in the last few months that we've done it and stuff. This February ones weren't doing as great as the ones that was doing February the previous year, and that's because you tend to burn through a lot of the good topics early doors. But we really like doing those shows. It's certainly TLC, so we're going to keep on going that. And there's been a lot of demand for it to come back as well. So, and while we're doing that, also figuring out some new stuff that we can do. We've got some really fun ideas actually that we're going to be working on.
3 Count's a good example of that.
Yeah.
Because we used to do a predictions one and an evergreen one, like 3 Count every WWE champion ever.
Yeah.
But we did all the big topics.
Yeah. And when you get to every 2002 pay-per-view, so amazingly, not as many people care about that as they do every WWE belt design.
But yeah, I'm sure you can see it's a big period of transition, not just for us, but for a lot of wrestling channels on YouTube.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for sticking with us and being patient while we try and figure it out live on air, 5 days a week.
With you guys. 6 days a week. We're figuring out with you as we go.
And finally for now, George Dent66 says, hi guys, long-time listener. I finally joined Patreon yesterday.
Smart.
The Cena Rock series is amazing. My favourite subject is bad commentary, which there is a lot of. Cough, Booker T. Everyone needs to go and sign up for it, as it is such good and bad nostalgia.
We've, and we want to talk about good, bad nostalgia. Got a plan for what our next WrestleTalk Extra series is. Once we're finished with the Rise and Fall of Nexus, which ends in 2 months' time, as that'll end in August. Got an idea. We might even put it out as a poll to the patrons as well. We're going to put our 2 really bad ideas up and see which one. And when I say bad ideas, the best ideas we've ever had.
Yeah.
And see which one the patrons want us to do.
Yeah. I think I won't give away the topics, but maybe it's Luke and Ollie's annual indulgence in TNA. Because we don't talk about TNA on the other shows.
No, we don't. Not enough, at the very least.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here today. Let's check the poll to find out what the final score was for the episode.
Man, someone there suggested we do the NWO. That's a lot to cover if you're going to do the NWO.
Yeah, can you just do the rise and fall of WCW in the 4 months that are left of this year?
51% thumbs up, 41% in the middle.
Okay, so overall a pretty standard show, but not as many thumbs up as there has been previously, which is weird because I think the shows are of a higher quality.
Yeah, they feel better than they were sort of in the lead up to Money in the Bank. We feel like we're back up on a big wave. It's because we got 2 big shows they've got to promote in a couple of weeks, as well as going on towards or 2 nights of SummerSlam.
Well, please make sure you subscribe. Go and watch the SummerSlam 2010 Rise and Fall of the Nexus video that went live on Saturday. That's available for you all to watch now. And we'll be back on Friday with the WrestleTalk podcast. But for now, I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, DAD. Jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone.